Charles, are you there? Charles? Oops, I'm sorry, can't hear you. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Wemimo. Kenny is my name.
Welcome, Kenny.
I'm calling from here.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, let me say two things. Number one, I agree with you with what you said during the newspaper review. Sanusi himself said it, that's the highest thing he would ever want as a prince. That the greatest thing he wanted in his life was to be emir. He said it in himself. I watched interviews where he said that. Now, with respect to the dethronement, see, those who are saying that they cannot remove Oba of Benin or Oba of Lagos, they should pray they will not have a governor than Gandhi. He will remove the Oba, nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing. The fact is, those who are talking, I respect culture, you understand? But for you to tell me that a state governor cannot remove any traditional ruler in this country, including Oni of Ife, it can be deposed and nothing is going.
Unfortunately, many people don't want to hear that. They don't even believe that's true.
Well, they may choose not to want to hear it, but that's the reality.
Right.
It's going to happen and nothing is going to. It will happen and nothing will happen at the end of the day. Now, with respect to sending him to Nasarawa State, that's where I have problems. I respect culture, but wherever culture, infringes with human rights, I detest it completely. You understand? For instance, now, people used to say when they are doing Oro in the Korodu and things like that, women cannot go out. I mean, what arrant nonsense is that? How would you say people cannot go out? Because you go and do your own. Everybody should be free to move at any time they choose. Not that you tell me because of one culture. There are some cultures we need to do away with. They simply cannot fit in the current realities of our existence.
All right.
There used to be a time when they used to kill twins in Calabar. You go and kill twins now and tell me you will not spend the rest of your life in jail if you are not sent to death for hanging. There are some cultures we have to deal with. The issue of this, he should, even if he wants to live in Kano, he should go back to Kano to go and live there.
That would be conflicting with tradition. Anyway. But let's talk about some more. Thank you so much for calling. Let me speak with Biola, who is at Bagada. Welcome to the show, Biola.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, I want to differ from Mr. Rotimi Sankore.
Okay.
Look at it this way. In Kano, I probably believe that there are just two families that can be king in Kano, and that can be emir.
Well, I can't confirm that. No, I can't confirm that. I don't know.
20 million people in Kano not to be an emir. So if you want to be an emir, you should have your own side of the share of your the issue too. So issue of when they said he should be banished from Kano, he understands the culture, he understands the tradition, he knows the consequence of what he's doing. You understand? That's my own angle.
So you're saying that it's okay to banish him since he knew what he was getting to when he was.
Of course. Before he became emir, he knew the consequence of all these things. He knows what he's going into.
Thank you, Biola. Let me speak with Shehu is at Apapa. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Wemimo. My name is Shehu Sani.
Welcome, Shehu.
Yes, and Wemimo, you see, there's nothing these traditional rulers can do about it because they've made the mistake the earlier time. They happen to be the tax collectors in the past. They happen to be the king, the makers of the law. They happen to be everything they wanted to be. In the past, if you read the history of the Sultana of Sokoto, he left Sokoto for government because he couldn't become the Sultan of Sokoto state. But today, when they went to government, instead of them to kind of establish laws that would protect their rights, they left it open for the children of the masses to take over power from them. And today you can see the level at which they became caricature of them. Just like the other speakers spoke, I believe this thing does not come to stay. And with time, you will see that a lot of kings and emirs, because Ganduje has already set the precedent, a very bad precedent, for other governors to also copy. Because with time, you get to realize that a lot of emirs will be sacked from their offices and there's nothing anybody can do.
But this is not the first case, right? Ganduje is not the first governor
Yes,
to
but in most
dethrone a
cases,
king.
you get to realize that there has to be something. A truth has to be established. Maybe the king disagree with the rules of the law, land, or something like that. But just like these purported lies and other things, you use it very cheap blackmail to sack an existing emir. It's very, very bad, and it's a bad precedent for the institution.
All right.
And what the level of banishing, it won't even work because we're in the 21st century, for crying out loud. How can you banish somebody and send them to a village? Even me, that I'm in Lagos, you can't tell me not to live in Lagos because I'm not from the Yoruba Kingdom. Talk more of an emir. Well,
Right. Thank you, Shehu. Let me speak with Femi from Surulere. He's been on the line for a while. Femi, thank you for holding the line.
Hello, Wemimo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I want to say three things. Any king can be banished. The power of the government is kind of far stronger. Let us remember Oboranwe of Benin. So those who are saying the Benin monarch or whatsoever, Oboranwe was banished several years ago. Alaafin of Oyo was deposed. Some of these are things we follow. So that's it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, modern day, we have constitution. Just says you can live in any part of the country. If you are using the powers of government, don't say anywhere they want legally within the country, and he's a citizen, and even a citizen of Kano. So it's contrary, blow and blow. Wrong. He did everything right and fight.
You arguably thing right. The governor said he didn't. It was good. It was going against culture and tradition. That's what he claims. So
has he gone against the constitution in any way? He hasn't, obviously. So if we're using what the constitution says to offset a constitution.
Right. So question is, which should be supreme, tradition or constitution? I mean, it's a traditional. Do we bring in constitution in that traditional role? Where do we draw the line? Let me speak with Abin, who's at Banner Island. Please keep. You have met on the line. Welcome to the show.
All right. Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. You see, the word of God says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." The truth has set Sanusi free. But many people will not understand it for now. Even if they banish him or not, it doesn't matter anything with Sanusi. But that banishment is not in the law of the land. I think it's their tradition. So I don't know what their traditions say for banishing a person from the town, from Kano to another local. So it be, but Sanusi will come out after all this tribulation. Is just something. Maybe 3 years time now, another governor will take over.
That's right.
And that's when we see the game that they are going to play again.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, Jabin. Pastor Edo is on the line from Ikorodu. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
I love this topic. But I encourage you people, you are doing great in that station.
Thank you.
But what I want to tell you is that tradition has a limit to go. That from the time immemorial, okay, we used to bury our kings with the human being to go and serve them in the spirit world. Do we still do that today? There are so many things that education needs to remove from our system. There are so many things religion has to do away from our body. There are so many things constitution, even thinking, common sense should remove from our thinking. How will you depose a king? Now, let's say it's a constitutional right. Now, is it their right to tell that person where to live? Are you God? Okay, before you said it in your own preamble that if a king is deposed, most times they hang themselves or they are killed. Is that done today?
Oh, so maybe they're picking a side that is, in quotes, not too bad because you're not killed. You're just told to go live the rest of your life in one corner.
No, let me tell you, man. Sanusi is not a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I know him very well to be one of the most elite in this country. Let me tell you, that governor have, drawn a battle line between him. I don't like Sanusi for one thing because he's fighting for himself and his people. He's not fighting for everybody like an Igbo. The way the Southeast are being destroyed, nobody's talking about that. So, but I'm against every inhuman treatment to anybody.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is that now you will see what Sanusi will do to them, and I will be everywhere to pray for him, support him, to make sure that people who are using Constitution as their own personal property do not succeed in this life.
Thank you, Pastor, for calling. Let me remind you, like I mentioned the other time, this is not the first time a king will be dethroned. It's happened many times in history. Interestingly, this looks like a repeat of what happened some 57 years ago, where Emir Muhammad Sanusi I was also dethroned in 1963 because of the power struggle then. Again, it was about power struggle between himself and Ahmadu Bello. If you read down that story, you see that, it happened and nothing happened after. There's also a video going round. It's a reminder of what happened several years ago in 1982 also, when the governor of Kano then, Abubakar Rimi, threatened the late Emir Ado Bayero, with removal. Let me see if I can play you this audio in a moment. Just give me a while. I'll get it for you. It's all over the place. But something Sanusi said very recently, which reminds us of the question I asked you yesterday: should traditional rulers be involved in politics, or do they just stay at the background? Some of you said to me yesterday, traditional rulers should only be seen, never heard.
Now, traditional rulers like me find themselves in a very difficult position. On the one hand, politicians are very happy for you to go and fight fires, tell people to keep the peace, preach to people, condemn violence. On the other, you're not allowed to criticize root causes that may come from the failings of politicians. So it's fine to say to a rural villager, you should send your daughter to school. But it's not fine to say to the governor, why haven't you built a school? It's fine to...
It's okay to tell a villager, send your girl child to school, but you can't say that to the governor. So should they be apolitical? Tunde is on the line from Ijebu. Thank you for holding the line, Tunde.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to make a brief contribution.
Please go ahead.
See, there is a lot of discussion about the tradition itself.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, most of the examples that we are giving today happened after independence. If you look at the tradition, before you can be banished, you must have committed a very big offense. Big offense as probably a king killed, maybe adultery in an Islamic environment. Very, very big offense. But this time around, the tradition has been distorted. There is a review after independence, probably that the governor has the power to remove a king. So therefore, there is also a rule in Nigeria that says that you have freedom of movement.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a contradiction.
There is.
Other one, the bigger law will stand, which is Nigerian constitution, that you can move. So we should not forget about all this tradition, because the tradition itself has been distorted. So that's my own opinion.
Thank you, Tunde, for calling. Let me back that up. Section 41(1) of the Constitution states, listen to this: every citizen of Nigeria is entitled to move freely throughout Nigeria and to reside in any part thereof, and no citizen of Nigeria shall be expelled from Nigeria or refuse entry thereto or exit therefrom. Back that up again with Section 35(1), which says every citizen of Nigeria is entitled to his personal liberty, and no person shall be deprived of such liberty. Again, every person is entitled to assemble freely and to associate with other persons. Aren't we infringing on right here? Do we scrap tradition totally? Is that what you are for? Babaji is here. Oops, my goodness. I am sorry. That was my fault. Babaji, I apologize. So are you saying, do you subscribe to us scrapping tradition and say, no, we can't do that anymore? Where do we draw the line? Where is the balance? Good morning.
Good morning, Wemimo.
Welcome to the show.
This is Julius from Ojo.
Welcome.
Yeah. Concerning the former emir, I think before he accepted to be emir, he is aware of the consequences of some certain involvement, like supporting a certain politician against his government. And as a traditional leader, he is supposed to work from the background, actually.
It should be seen and not heard.
Banishment. That is one of the consequences. We should not be crying more than the Sanusi himself knows what he's facing now.
So you're saying that it's okay, since he knew what he was signing up for, it's okay to be banished since that's part of the deal?
Of course, that is their tradition. They know it better than us. Every region in Nigeria, they have what guides them. You understand?
Right. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, the Obas, they know how they operate. If you go to the East, where people buy leadership with their money, they operate in their own style.
Thank you very much for calling. Let me remind you, since you talked about the Southwest and someone had mentioned tradition changing, let me remind you of what happened, in case you've forgotten, just years ago, not so long ago, 2018. Remember that the Abobaku of the Oni of Ife, if you remember, Obashijo Aje, when he was going to be buried, his Abobaku ran away. I really don't know how that story ended. In case you know, you might want to give me the gist. I don't know how it ended, but we do know that the Abobaku, traditionally, when an Oba of that status would be buried, it needs to be buried with someone who's been with him all the years, called Abobaku, who's eaten with him, they kind of just feed him as a sacrificial lamb, and he's meant by Yoruba tradition to clear the road for the Oba in the afterlife. This Abobaku ran away. Did the burial go on or not? It did. Comrade Ogbanango, yes, is on the line.
Comrade Ogbanango Mohammed Ibrahim.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Look, what happened in Kano State is an absurd. And if we should allow it to go forward, it will create a whole lot of chaos in this country. Yes, a governor is right to depose a traditional ruler, but he lacks the power to banish a Nigerian from any part of this country. The laws they are using was a colonial law and during the military. And the 1999 Constitution said no to that law. You cannot banish a Nigerian. So when they go to law, to court of law, definitely that the banish will be upturned. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Paul is here from Egbeda. Welcome, Paul.
Yeah, good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the...
Hello, Paul? Paul, are you there?
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you now. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, my contribution is that what had happened in the past and what happened a few days ago shows that this country needs people's own constitution that will supersede every traditional practice or customary practice. That is number one. Number two, the killings that are going on in this country is no longer being discussed on your radio. Since ever Sanusi was removed, since 3 days now, it had been discussing these issues. But yesterday, we had some people who were murdered in Ebonyi State, and we've not had it as a discussion in your radio station. So please, We need these things. It's more.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. I wanted to hear you all the way. Okay, so I also saw that video that you're referring to, pictures rather, on social media. Our reporters are on it. We have stations across the nation, and we are on that story. We need to do our confirmation, but we certainly, Nigeria Info will talk about all of these issues. Our reporters will feed us back, I'm sure by today, from that end, and we would know for certain what's going on. But I need to head out for a break now. Remember that I told you, I remember how controversial it was. No, it wasn't 2018, it was 2015 when the late Oni of Ife, Obashijuwaje, his final burial rites were stalled because the Ababaku ran away. And traditionally, the Ababaku needs to be buried alive, I believe, with the king. It was part of tradition. What happened to the burial? Do you know what happened? Was it buried with someone else or with that? You can tell me. But I'm heading out for a break now. I'll be back very soon. And when I return, Liboros Oshoma, who's a barrister at law, will be joining me, on the show to tell us what's the traditional role, what's the constitutional role of traditional rulers? Are they even recognized at all? If they are, can they be banished? What does the law say about all of this? Don't go away. This is the Morning Crossfire. I am Wemimo Adewuni. I'm back after this.
Your number one talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
Welcome back. 99.3 Nigeria Info, and we're talking about banishment in Nigeria. Is this constitutional? Is this allowed? Is the state going against tradition? Which should let or give way for the other? Liboros Oshoma, barrister at law, joins me on the show. Good morning, Liboros.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the show. Before I speak with you, let me play this audio. It's been dug up from an interview done in 1982.
1982 by
right.
Abubakar Rimi.
There you go. Abubakar Rimi threatened. I mean, I love the way the video, this ended. It was so confident. He said we would dethrone him and we'll go to sleep. This was talking about Emir Adobayero back then in 1982. Listen to this.
Really trying to make the Emir of Kano something which he is not. Yes. Let me tell you this, my friend. I will advise you to stop talking about this Emir of Kano. The way you press people and the way our political opponents want to regard the Emir, that is not the way we regard the Emir. As far as we are concerned, we the elected government of Kano State, as far as we are concerned, as far as I, the governor of Kano State, is concerned, the Emir of Kano is nothing but a public officer. I read in the paper that somebody said, I said he's a civil servant. I never said so. I didn't say he's a civil servant. He's not a civil servant. He's a public officer who is holding a public office and who is being paid from public funds and whose appointment is at the pleasure of the governor of the state and who can be dismissed, removed, interdicted, suspended if he commits an offense. And there is nothing absolutely unique about Adobayero, Emir of Kano. He is equal to any one of my 8 emirs. And believe me, if he commits any offense which will make it necessary for us to remove him, we will remove him and we will sleep soundly.
We will remove him and we will sleep soundly. Libora Soshama, I'm sure you've seen this interview that was done by Lekan Labi, veteran journalist, 1982. Reminds us that this is not new, right? What's the role of traditional rulers under the law in Nigeria?
The role of traditional rulers to answer directly is that of advisory. It's an advisory role. Before now, before we embraced modern government, constitutional democracy, the role of traditional rulers were that of the governors, the president. Then the Emir of Kano was the president of Kano. Mm-hmm. He could do and undo. He could ask somebody to go and die, and the person will go and die. You see a woman and say, look, I want this woman, nobody will question. Mm-hmm. But with constitutional government, their roles were whittled down to that of mere advisory. And that was why, if you remember, during the colonial era, the colonial government would impose kings in areas where there were no kings. And, use kings to collect taxes from their people, to their benefit. So, it was, and then came the Constitution, and constitutional governance, states were created. You will now find out that emirs that were very powerful were placed purely at the control of local government chairmen. And so that's why, for me, to some very large extent, I blame Sanusi, Lamido, Sanusi. My personal opinion, though, with the kind of knowledge and influence and popularity that we had at that time, even though it was his lifelong ambition, he should have known that he would not be able to make any meaningful impact in terms of reformation that he so craved for in the north by being the Emir of Kano. He would do more as a governor or as a president.
But what I wonder at is there a constitutional role driven under the Nigerian constitution? Do we have anything that specifies, the role of traditional rulers? And, I've heard lawyers argue that there's nothing, they don't have anything under the constitution. So why are they still there?
No, that's why I said that they are under the control of whether a commissioner for local government and chief justice affairs or a local government chairman. Their roles are provided for in the state laws as advisors. And they are paid from the coffers of the state. So unlike before, we have 3 tiers of government: federal government, the state government, and the local government. The emirs are subsumed under the local government. The emirs, obas, kings, are subsumed under the local government. And they are to advise the governor And that's why you have the state traditional council. The body meets, they rotate their chairmanship, and then in some cases.
So talking about advising the state government, again,
when he needs it.
Let me play you this audio. I played it earlier on the show. This was an interview where the former emir, Sanusi, was on a panel talking about how he feels that his hands are tied, and he can't even advise the governor. Here is what he said.
Now, traditional rulers like me find themselves in a very difficult position. On the one hand, politicians are very happy for you to go and fight fires, okay? Tell people to keep the peace, preach to people, condemn violence. On the other, you're not allowed to criticize root causes that may come from the failings of politicians. So it's fine to say to a rural villager, you should send your daughter to school. But it's not fine to say to the governor, why haven't you built a school?
So if you have that, it's okay to tell the rural villager, why haven't you sent your child to school? But you can't tell the governor, why haven't you built a school? So what advisory role are they taking on if they can't advise the governor?
If you remember, Obasanjo appointed special advisor and said, I must not take your advice. That's Nigerian politics for you. So these are people he's appointing. So I want to take it at that level, the presidential level. These are people he's advising, he's appointing. He's going to pay constitutionally as advisors. And he says, look, don't compose I take your advice. That's the enormity of the powers of the governor and the president. And that in some cases, the National Assembly will make a law, a resolution, and the president will say it is mere advisory. It's left for me to take it or leave it. That's how dictatorial our political officers are. And so that is why it brings me back to the same issue. Sanusi did not just know that position when he ascended the throne. He knew long ago, even before he became emir, that the throne and politics in Nigeria do not mix. Many others have been dethroned for trying to advise a governor, and then they will say he's political. If you remember your lower of our lateral language, if you remember Sambo Dasuki's father, Dasuki, the Sultan of Sokoto, if you remember, one time Alafia for you, if you remember Mustafa Jokolo, the former emir of Gwandu, emirs have been dethroned by governors, by presidents in Nigeria on the suspicion that they were meddling in politics. And so, even in some cases, they will tell pastors, look, face your church. Yours is not to begin to advise the governor on what to do. You can point the direction, Governors in Nigeria, politicians in Nigeria, presume that they are all-knowing.
So let me take you on this one. You've mentioned, traditional rulers who've also been deposed in time past, and it brings me to, wondering about the fact. So for Sanusi, his offense was that he was going against the constituted authority. He was not obedient, insubordination, and he was going against tradition and culture, and on it goes. But in that audio I played back in 1982, Abubakar Rimi, who mentioned that the emir or traditional rulers are public servants. As public servants, don't they owe a responsibility to the public to speak on their behalf? And if they do speak, is that a crime worthy of dethronement?
Yes, they own a responsibility to the public. They also own a responsibility to the governor who appointed them. Mind you, it is the governor that confers the authority of emirship on you, or governor or obaship on you. He's the one that hands over the staff of office. Without that, you can't become an oba, you can't become an emir. Unlike before, where once your people have appointed you, there is a ceremony for conferring on you the staff of office. Even if that ceremony is done in modern days, without complying with the local government and chieftaincy law of the state, or in the case of Kano, the Kano state Emirate law, Emirate Council law, then that position is a nullity. So to that effect, that was why when the Emir started criticizing the governor and became very vociferous against the northern oligarchy that is meant to protect.
Not directly against Governor Ganduje, but generally against northern leaders, political leaders.
Against Governor Ganduje, against northern leader, even when he was not Emir, he was very vociferous against the former governor, Kwankwaso, that he was so bad that Kwankwaso decided that the state government was not going to do business with UBA when he was a manager in UBA in Northern Region. He called Kwankwaso's government house Ajinomoto government house. So, to that extent, they were not comfortable. And in the last election, the PDP candidate was a distant cousin of his. So, they felt that his criticism was to enhance the chances of the PDP governorship candidate. So that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And they swore that if they won the election at the Supreme Court, that the first thing they were going to do was to remove him. And that is why there's a conspiracy of silence in the Northern Region.
Right.
Because you can't remove an emir like that without, approval from certain quarters, including within the throne.
Right.
And so they first amended the law that empowered them to dethrone him as they wish. The court struck out that law in June 2019. And then also the emirates that were created, the 4 emirates that were created, if you remember, Abubakar Rimi also attempted to create those 4 emirates. The 4 emirates that were created were nullified by the court. In December, they enacted this new law that they used to oust him. And by virtue of Section 13 of that law, it empowers the governor to, as he wish, remove an emir for insubordination.
So we see here that the governor definitely wasn't working in isolation. He had the backing of the State Assembly to pass those laws and those changes you mentioned. And subtly, we've not seen them come out to speak clearly, but subtly also people from within the traditional empire itself. But let me go on to the banishment matter. So the dethronement is one thing. Banishment, forced exile is another. Before you joined, I read sections 41 1 and 35 1, which talks about, let me read it again. Section 41 says, every citizen of Nigeria is entitled to move freely throughout Nigeria and to reside in any part thereof. And no citizen of Nigeria shall be expelled from Nigeria or refuse entry thereto or exit thereof. The other section, 35, talks about personal liberty. Every Nigerian is entitled to personal liberty and no one shall be deprived of such liberty. Wasn't Emir Sanusi deprived of his liberty? Isn't the state, the Kano state, going against the constitution now?
Yes, clearly. He's right under Section 35. Section 40 and Section 41 have been seriously violated. Whether as a dethroned emir or as an ordinary Nigerian, he enjoys those rights. And these rights had also been pronounced upon in a similar case of an emir by Justice Adewuni of the Court of Appeal in the case of government of Kebbi State against His Royal Highness Mustafa Jokolo, when he was dethroned in 2005 or so, and then banished to the same Nasarawa State. I wonder what they see with Nasarawa State.
I wonder myself.
And the Court of Appeal was very instructive in that case, and it held that the action by the governor of Kebbi State by banishing Mustafa Jokolo to Kebbi State, was to Nasarawa State, was in violation of his constitutional rights as spelled out in Section 35, in Section 40, and in Section 41. And that no governor, even the president, does not have such power. And if you remember from the press statement read by his lawyer, even though the police have said he's not under any form of arrest, but from the events, leading to that, he is under some form of arrest. And without a warrant of arrest. And so he has every right to challenge that arrest.
So I'm wondering, in this, now that you mentioned the police, are they also culpable in this? Remember, it was under some form of house arrest before the dethronement. The police also were there to, quote, escort him on this forceful exile. Shouldn't the police also know better?
That's why I told you that this action has a lot of trappings and input from external forces. But you are hearing the voice of you are seeing the hand of Jacob, the hand of Esau, but the voice of Jacob, as the case may be. So there is no way that action can be taken without the concurrence of certain quarters. And so for me, should I call it banishment? What I see is arrest. Form of house arrest. And so the moment you take a man forcefully against his wish away from his place and then take him to a place without his consent, then it's other stuff of harm. If you remember, his team of lawyers said he chose to go with his family to Lagos, a place he has resided, most part of his years. They refused and said his family can go, but for him, he will have to follow them. That's an arrest.
Right.
And so he had to comply because he had no choice in the matter. Because took him to Abuja, from Abuja, flew him to wherever, and then drove him by road for 7 hours. All of these are inhuman treatment.
Right.
So his rights have been seriously violated, and he has every right to contest and claim damages for that. Yes, they have powers to dethrone him, but every other action thereafter is or traverse the powers of the governor as provided for in the Constitution. Right.
Liberato Sharma, thank you very much for joining the show, giving us a legal perspective to this conversation. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. I'm back to you now. You heard my conversation with Liberato Sharma. Again, let me remind you of what Sanusi had said. It appeared that he's been having issues with being a vocal traditional ruler who, according to him, was just meant to fight fires.
Now, traditional rulers like me find themselves in a very difficult position. On the one hand, politicians are very happy for you to go and fight fires, okay? Tell people to keep the peace, preach to people, condemn violence. On the other, you're not allowed to criticize root causes that may come from the failings of politicians. So it's fine to say to a rural villager, you should send your daughter to school. But it's not fine to say to the governor, why haven't you built a school? Okay, it's fine to
call us on 01-277-0993, 01-277-1993, 01-277-2993, and 01-277-3993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
This is Nigeria Info. This is the Morning Crossfire. I am Wemimo Adewuni. Let me run quickly to WhatsApp, where comments are pouring in. Okay, Sebastian Dominic says, good morning. Okay, let me see. Gosh. There's so many messages. Let me speak first to Taiwo from Ikwaja. Taiwo, welcome to the show. Hello, Taiwo. Hello, Taiwo.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, my name is Taiwo. Yeah, already you know my name.
Yes, Taiwo from Ikwaja. Welcome.
Wemimo, Adi?
This is Wemimo, yes. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, sorry. Please, if I just ask, is it Wemimo Adewuni?
What did you say?
Is it Wemimo Adewuni?
Adewuni.
Okay, it's Adewuni. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I know of Wemimo Adewuni, so that's what I'm just trying to clarify.
Okay, thank you.
Let me quickly, you are doing a very good job.
Thank you.
God bless you. Yeah. Now, so the issue of the emir of Sanusi, that was former emir that was banished to a town in Nasarawa. I think it's a breach of the fundamental human rights fine, he has been deposed. But what the state government does, that's the Kano state government does, is I think it's to the extreme. Banishing him on what does the constitution of Kano, does the law of Kano pass the constitution of Nigeria, which gives room to freedom of individual movement?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think if they are to rubbish him, they should not go to that extent. Let the man, the man has accepted his fate. It's fine, you have removed him, but let him have his freedom and let him go about his life the way he wants it, and that is that.
Right.
And again, on the issue of the coronavirus in Nigeria, and even in the whole world, please, what is Nigerian government doing? You can see now that you discover that the whole thing is now affecting what really is going to affect the Nigerian economy. Considering what we are faced with here, that we only have a simple source. Now, coronavirus started, the Nigerian government is panicking. This and that, they cannot fund the budget. Meanwhile, what happens to the loot spending they have been losing, they have been recovering?
All right.
What happens to it? Why can't we use it to fund our budget?
All right.
So
Thank you. I take your thoughts on the coronavirus because it's an important issue. But let's focus on the topic at hand. Okay. Wisdom is here from VI. Wisdom, you're welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning, Wisdom.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, Wisdom.
Yeah. Please, on this Enya's banishment and dethronement and all that. I want to really speak on the banishment. I just listened to a television station from 10 minutes ago. While I was listening to you, I was watching that station. They were still on this issue. And the Commissioner of Justice in Kano was live on that program. And the guy said that the emir was not banished, that he was only dethroned. And even the journalist asking the question was like, was he not banished? They said that it was not even part of the agreement and from the statement that was put out by the SSG.
So when it was driven to Nasarawa State by who?
So we don't even understand who is telling us the truth here.
Well, the truth is that he wanted to come to Lagos, and the government insisted that he had to go to Nasarawa State. That's what happened.
He said he's not aware of that he wasn't banished.
So, this, when we always get to this point, it baffles me when something is obviously in our faces and we can see it, and a public officer then tells us that's not what happened. That's like taking everyone for a ride.
Wemimo, our politicians are fond of lying to us. They keep lying. But
what is there to lie about when it's in the public space, when everyone, knows what's going on?
That's what he said. I listened to him 10 minutes ago on a particular television station. 10 minutes ago, he was live on that program and he said so that Emir Sanusi was not banished.
I think they'll have to sort that out in court. It is unfortunate. I don't find it funny at all. But Wisdom, thank you for calling. Let me go to Facebook. Chike Steven, Nigerian constitution is set to supersede the Kano Emirate law and even the law of Kano State. But another thing I'm thinking is that the Nigerian constitution also recognizes the customary law, and the customary law allows the banishment of the tradition of a tribe once it's not against human life. Like you said, the constitution supersedes all of this. I'm coming back. I see the phone lines are buzzing, but I need to head up for a break right now. This is the Morning Crossfire. We're having a crossfire conversation as usual, asking you, is the states going against tradition when they have this kind of clash? Which should bow, the states or tradition? Do we wipe out tradition totally? Is it high time we did that? You can talk to me on our live feed on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3, also on YouTube. Twitter is at Nigeria Info FM, WhatsApp 08095975805. More conversations coming up after the break. Don't go away. I'm Wemimo Adewuni, and back after this.
and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
Now, traditional rulers like me find themselves in a very difficult position. On the one hand, politicians are very happy for you to go and fight fires, okay, tell people to keep the peace, preach to people, condemn violence. On the other, you're not allowed to criticize root causes that may come from the failings of politicians. So it's fine to say to a rural villager, you should send your daughter to school. But it's not fine to say to the governor, why haven't you built a school?
Welcome back to the Morning Crossfire 99.3 Nigeria Info. I'm Wemimo Adewuni, and we're asking the crossfire question today. Banishment of former Emir of Kano, Sanusi, reminds us of several other instances across Nigeria. And the question is the state going against tradition? Do we totally wipe off this tradition? The government in Kano insisted that it was traditional. Two emirs cannot be in the same state. Once one is dethroned, he has to leave the state and go elsewhere. This also happened to Sanusi's grandfather, so it's not the first. About 57 years ago, 1963, the same thing happened, and we see that he was also banished to Azare, which is now Bauchi State, but was brought back by the next governor back then. So I'm asking the question, do you think that the state is going against tradition? Let me head and read some messages, please. I see the phone lines are buzzing, but the comments online are overwhelming also. So let me start from where? Kenny from VI on WhatsApp says, for those who know Sanusi very well, being Emir of Kano was his greatest aspiration. He said that himself in some interviews before ascending the throne. So those who think he would be happier with higher positions are grossly mistaken. I'm summarizing here. Unwakoma from Yaba says, okay, I think you're referring to the front pages. Osman loves the show. Thank you so much, Osman. Good morning, Wemimo. How are you doing? I'm good. What if Boko Haram now relocate to Nasarawa? What will Sanusi do about that? What do you mean? Gandoje will pay for this, I assure you. That's from Dami from Ijebu. Well, that's why the Southeast did not place so much value on these traditional institutions, because they are toothless bulldogs. We believe in democratic process. That's the way to go to avoid all these shenanigans. Chinedu from Idumota, thank you. Good morning, Wemimo. Christian from Ajah. My question is, can the next governor of Kano State recall Sanusi in the future? Recall him how? Back as Emir? Well, he can. That would mean he would have to dethrone Bayero. So that's going to be quite some drama. The governor of Kano said is under the Nigerian constitution and not traditional laws. Therefore, I might agree he has a right to dethrone an emir under the Nigerian constitution, but cannot banish the emir because it's not in Nigerian constitution, unless the governor wants to tell us that the governor is still under traditional law. King Raf from Eleko. Also here, okay, let me move to this one. Governor, okay, you're sharing a video. Good morning, Wemimo. As long as traditional rulers receive a percentage of local government allocation, incidents like the deposition of MS Sanusi will continue to happen. And Olorunda from Alausa says this banishment is an old style, though the dethronement is constitutional but has to follow the laid down procedures. Also, to remove a king in the south of Nigeria, the results and effects will be different from it if it happened to the north. The north is far behind in all ramifications. What would happen? That's what I need to tell me. What exactly would happen if it happened in the south or the west? What would happen? I think nothing would happen. Yes, I say that. Now, we have all this also coming in. No name. Good morning, Wemimo. It's just a matter of time before Sanusi is restored by the judiciary. Dethronement without giving him fair hearing and banishment, which is violation of freedom of movement, are serious constitutional matters. The Awujale of Ijebuland also suffered similar travail under BC Onabanjo. He had to live in Sokoto for some years before it was settled. It was a political issue then. Awujale belonged to a different party that the governor. Should a traditional ruler belong to a party? Question. Nigerian constitution is said to supersede the Kano Emirate law and even the law of Kano State. But another thing I'm thinking is that the Nigerian constitution also recognizes customary law. Chike, I think I read your comment from Facebook. Emmanuel on WhatsApp says, traditional rulers should comply with their traditional laws. You cannot say you're a Christian and not believe in Jesus Christ. Bringing constitutional rights on traditional matters do not add up. He, Sanusi, was aware of these laws and its consequences before accepting the throne. That's what Emmanuel says on WhatsApp. No name, I'll have to skip. Again, no name, I'll have to skip. No name again, no name. No, okay. Aurora from Ayabo, first, we are not guarded by traditional laws, rather by constitution. Secondly, Sanusi was dethroned after quoting some funny laws from the constitution against him. So practically nothing was done traditionally in his case. He didn't go against tradition. He was only removed by the state governor for telling him the truth. Since the government dubiously removed him using Nigerian constitution, then they have to stick fully to the constitution, which states that he can live anywhere. Showumi Rotimi from Awumu Wodofin says, good morning, Wemimo. The banishment of Sanusi from Kano State is an infringement on his right of movement and liberty. Yes, a traditional ruler can be dethroned by a governor by the provision of the law, but he cannot be banished. I had to summarize that. I'm reading your comments. Yes, I'll read it now. See. But no name. All right, you have a name. I see. Sorry about that. Kaide Okwe from Ijegun says, I think this has gone far. Sanusi is trying to open the eyes of the northern youth, which may cause insecurity and chaos in the northern region. That is why the northern caliphate knows where the pendulum is swinging. I want the lawyer of the emir to challenge his fundamental human right of the client. Thank you. They are doing that right now. Okay, we are in a mess in this country. One is being punished by saying the truth against politicians. Benjamin says on WhatsApp, no name on this one. Good morning, Wemimo. Some tradition should be scrapped in Nigeria because in Nigerian law, everyone has a right to live anywhere in Nigeria. For me, I want Sanusi to fight for his right. John Udo says from Victoria Island. And from Shedrack, good morning. Please, the emir of Kano is paying for his crime of being so vocal about the issues affecting the north, which is not part of the northern style of politics, where they don't condone criticism about the political narrative. Please send me Nigerian phone numbers. I've read them out over and over again. You can call 0700 993 993 993. Shegun from Shasha Akowajo says on WhatsApp, good morning. On the issue at hand, the governor can decide to banish and remove the emir of Kano, high-profile emir for that matter. Then the constitution should also remove the... Okay, I'm sure you mean... Okay, if the governor can decide to banish and remove the emir, then the constitution should also remove the immunity placed on governors too. There should be equal justice and fair play to everybody. Nigerian constitution should be reviewed with immediate effect. Angle. You're doing a great job. Thank you, David from Owuru. I see your message here. Whoops, this is pretty long. As far back as 1982. No, that's too long a message. And this is very long too. From Chris, he says, what he said is very powerful. It's all right to say to a village person to go to school, but it's wrong to say, Mr. Governor, why have you not built the school? Well, that's the truth. He says that's a strong and reasonable statement for Kano development, he said, but some persons don't understand it. People don't know the difference between tradition and culture. All tradition should be abolished completely because it inflicts on human rights, but culture, there should be checks and balances. Charles says, gosh, you have so many messages. He's asking me if I remember the book Things Fall Apart. In fact, I'm reading it again right now. Things Fall Apart. Okonkwo had to kill Afumoelake. According to, no, that's not his name now. What's his name again? If you enter into any traditional norms, make sure you abide by its tenets. You can't run away from it. Sanusi knew the rules governing the throne, Charles says from Charles Igbokwe rather. Wale from Arepo, Ganduje is a PhD holder and has taken major steps on education, vocational trainings and healthcare. He has banished Almajiri and ensured all children are in school. Ensured? Has he ensured that all children are in school? Insecurity has moderated in Kano in the last 5 years under Ganduje because of his comprehensive programs. Sanusi committed huge errors by confronting his own governor with misplaced criticisms and insubordination. He should know that the role of a traditional ruler all over the world is usually very conservative by nature. Thank you very much, Wale. Dahiru says, if Sanusi leaves for exile, is it going to be permanent or temporary? meant to be permanent. It should stay there till he dies, unless something changes. Abu from Oshod, if the court installs Sanusi back, will Adobayero be sent to Nasarawa State too? I don't know. Peter from Alaba, I'm sorry, I see you all calling. Oh my goodness. Okay, WhatsApp would have to wait because someone is on the line for a while now. Elijah, you have been very patient. Thank you for holding the line. Oh, Elijah, can you hear me? Oh, man. And had to rush down here. Elijah, are you there? Oh, goodness. It's been on the line for so long. Holding on. I'm sorry. And then I couldn't hear you. Good morning. Hello? Okay, let's see who's here. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, good morning.
Welcome to the show. I'm Wemimo. What's your name?
I'm
I didn't get your name. Sorry. Good morning.
Hello, morning.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show. What's your name?
My name is Johnson from Aja.
Welcome, Johnson. What do you make of this conversation?
Yeah. I think Barrister Liberal had already made all the explanation that that is necessary behind the Premier experiment. Look, the Sanusi, the former Emir, supposed to, which in very clear, knew because several years back when he was at the central bank, he was asked severally by the media, do you think you can be effective in this position that you were going to? Because at every fora, he keeps saying child education, girls education, alimajiri, all the problems of the North. And he said, and he keeps saying then, that he has been following those attributes for the past 30 years. And now, so one expected him to have gone into executive power, not the one that you are under the local government. Go and look at the chieftaincy law of everywhere in Nigeria. It is embedded through by the military. You are under the local government, even as we are in this Lagos. The Governor of Lagos cannot tell anybody go and do something. You just ask him to not to tell you such a thing. It is there. So
you think he shouldn't have taken the position of emir? He should have aimed for something more executive where he would have more powers.
Executive power. That you'll be able to execute all those what you have in mind to do.
Thank you very much. Let's remind you of a statement that was put forward by the Kano Emirate, the Kano State Executive Council. I'll read in part. Actually, summary of his offense was insubordination, refusal to attend official meetings, and breach of Kano Emirate law. The Kano State Executive Council, under the chairmanship of His Excellency Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, has unanimously approved the immediate removal and dethronement of the Emir of Kano Emirate, Muhammad Sanusi II. The Emir of Kano is in total disrespect of lawful instructions from the Office of the State Governor and other lawful authorities, including his persistent refusal to attend official meetings and programs organized by the government without any lawful justification, which amounts to total insubordination. It's on record that in many instances, Malam Mohammed Sanusi II has been found breaching Part 3, Section 13 A to E of the Kano State Emirate Law 2019, and if left unchecked, will destroy the good and established image of Kano Emirate. This removal is made after due consultation with the relevant stakeholders and in compliance with Part 3, Section 13 of the Kano State Emirate Law 2019 and other reasons stated above. The removal was reached in order to safeguard the sanctity, culture, tradition, religion, and prestige of the Kano Emirate built over 1,000 years. a new emir of Kano will soon be appointed. Remember that these meetings that they refer to, the governor started this meeting, enforced, made it compulsory when he created 4 new emirates, which of course Sanusi did not like. And then he says, I'm going to make you even the head of these meetings, and you must. I know you don't like that I created 4 new emirates. You don't like it, but I'm going to make you come for those meetings. Of course, Sanusi didn't go for those meetings. And here we go. Jeff is here from Ikeja. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Wemimo. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
It's been a great conversation. I've been listening to you all morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, Wemimo, I think we are speaking from both ends of our mouths when we use the Constitution to defend Sanusi against the banishment.
Okay.
And we don't use the same Constitution to question how Sanusi is qualified to be a traditional ruler in the first place. Which Constitution gives Sanusi the right that I don't have? If we are using human rights as a basis to question his banishment, then we should also ask which part of the Constitution says that a man is qualified to be a traditional ruler, a man is qualified to be royalty in Nigeria above other Nigerians. In our law, in Nigeria, somebody is royalty and other people are not royalty. How come Sanusi is entitled to servants in the palace? How come he's entitled to state funds that other Nigerians are not entitled to? Is the human rights not supposed to be applicable to everybody? So the thing now is that what we are mixing up is that when these people become traditional rulers because of the rights that they have above other people, by the time they are banished, they are also subject to the same principles that in the first place put them above other people to be traditional rulers. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get you. You're saying if they by one law can become royalty, they should be able by the same law to be open to dethronement and banishment.
Exactly, that's my point. I'm with the lady in the car, and then while you were talking about the Abobaku in Ife, and she said when she was in school that one of her classmates who is royalty came to school one day and told them that my father is dead, you guys could stay at home, don't come to school. And she asked why. She said 7 people will be needed to bury my father. And she asked the girl, how many are you in your family? Because she felt that her own the children of the king were supposed to be used to bury the king. And her friend said, no, the children cannot be used because they are royalty. And the lady said, so am I not royalty also? And what she was asking in essence is that what rights those people have that I don't have? The Nigerian Constitution guarantees all of us the same human rights. But you see that when this thing called royalty comes on board, the rest of us are made to be inferior to those people because there is a principle that is not in the Nigerian Constitution that makes Sanusi and all the traditional rulers royalty. And that is contrary to our Constitution. Our Constitution says that all of us are equal before the law.
Unfortunately, when you bring it before this law,
these people to supersede us. So if they enjoy the principle that makes them to be above every other person, then they should also accept the consequence that comes with when they are dethroned or otherwise. So we cannot use the Constitution to fight against the Sanusi's banishment when we don't use the same Constitution to question his royalty and the royalty of any other person in Nigeria, for that matter, who is a traditional ruler.
I hear you, Jeff.
I want to address the part where we have been talking about the role of traditional rulers in our Constitution. As far as the Nigerian Constitution is concerned, they are not recognized. Now, this is what happened when the Queen of England sent her emissaries around the world to go and look to widen her empire. When they came to Nigeria and they conquered Nigeria, as it were, all the traditional rulers that they met became vassals of the Queen of England. They came under her. They became inferior to her. She was the head of all of them. Now, when the English were leaving, in 1963, Nigeria became a republic. The powers of the Queen of England were given to the executive rulers in Nigeria. The traditional rulers were not recognized under that structure. And so what happened was that because the Nigerian government now still recognizes that, these people are important by culture, by tradition, not by any constitutional framework, just by culture. they decided to allow them be and then structured a framework that suited them and put them under the local government administration.
Jeff, I hear you loud and clear. I had to allow you to talk because you've got one angle. I love to hear a different angle, and you've brought it on the table. Thank you very much for calling.
All right, Wemimo.
Fantastic. Some really says if they were not appointed by the Constitution, if they were appointed based on those traditional laws, then they should face the music all the way, fully, based on those traditional laws. Let me take a final call from Ugo, who's been on the line for a while. Ugo, good morning.
Hello, Wemimo. Good morning.
Good morning. I need you to make this as quick as possible. Can you do that?
Yes, I can.
All right,
My
welcome.
take on this is we should not forget the fact that any traditional law that is repugnant to natural justice and fairness and is against the Constitution cannot hold ground. These are the facts that most of us need to understand. I'm not against his dethronement because it's the right and it's the constitutional right of the governor to do so. But banishing him, where Constitution has actually stated the rights of every citizen in Nigeria, where a president cannot do so. So it's wrong.
Right. Thank you, Ugo. The conversation continues online at Nigeria Info 99.3 on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at Nigeria Info FM. I am also on social media at Wemimo Sport. Follow me up. Let's talk some more. I love conversing with you every morning. It's been fabulous doing this with you. And tomorrow we have another conversation on the table because tomorrow is Thursday. The phone lines are still buzzing. The comments are still pouring in. But I really, really do need to go. Tunji Andros is here to tell us what's coming up on the show at the bottom of the hour. Yeah, I needed to slow down for you to come round.
Hello.
You what? Turn it down. Do that again.
Hello.
Yeah, much better.
Hello.
All right. So what's coming up at 9:30?
All right. So it's basically we talk top economic issues on Wednesday, and we have Rolake and Ibrahim Babalola in this. They're going to be joining us, and we're going to be looking at what happened. How did they mess up? How did Russia, Saudi Arabia and the rest of OPEC mess up the meeting they had last week?
If you ask me now, how would I know?
Yeah, no, so we need to find out what exactly,
what
because
happened?
they had only one job. One
And
job,
they made
just
a mess
agree.
of it.
They made a mess of it, and now we're hearing analysts predicting that oil may even fall to $10 per barrel. And if it does happen, City of Lagos, I can't even lie to you, we're in rubble.
No, we already are in rubble.
Yeah,
there must be something worse than rubble.
As in, it's
We're planning an adjustment of the budget because we're looking at some $30. If we're looking
because what is happening now
$10,
is what is happening now is that Saudi Arabia has massive reserves. Do you understand? Their increase is more than our entire production as a country here. They are increasing from 9 to 12 million barrels per day. Russia is also ramping up capacity and not only doing that, giving at a discount. So prices can go to hell.
Crash.
And plus, don't forget, coronavirus is making things harder for people to eat. So there's little demand, oversupply. What it means is prices will crash. $10 per barrel. I don't think we can survive it. I don't think we can survive it. Honestly, I'm not sure we can.
Maybe we should pause the budget review we're planning because if we're still going further down, then
even if we review downwards, $10 per barrel means we might not even be able to pay our debt or forget salaries. I'm saying our foreign debt, we might not even be able to pay.
Going on
they strike. Better go on strike because it's like they don't understand what's going on.
You know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. You better go quickly.
Join Toji Andrews at the bottom of the hour. That's just about 3-4 minutes thereabout away from now. And I'll be seeing again tomorrow morning. Big thanks to everyone on the team. Join me again from 6 a.m. tomorrow for some amazing conversation. I'm on social media at Wemimo Sport. Let's keep talking.
99 points, your reliable station for more information around Nigeria.